Good morning, Indy fans. It's Wednesday, the 14th of July, and it's time for the 7th episode of DaviePHD's Twitter Twits. In this feature, I examine the Twitter feeds from our unionist chums and poke some gentle and crucially non-controversial and less sweary fun at them. This week, it's a Euro 2020 special. Now, unless you've been living on the moon for the last 4 weeks, you can't help but notice that there was a football tournament on the TV. Euro 2020, a year late, was being played in stadia all over Europe. Now, Scotland qualified for a major tournament for the first time in 20-odd years. But despite our long absence, we kept up our long-standing tradition of a glorious exit from the group stages. Despite not managing to beat Scotland, our old rivals England did better. Way better. Making it all the way to the final against Italy, where, after extra time, it was still 1-1 and went to penalties. Which, as we know, never goes well for England at all. Now, the disappointment at losing in a penalty shootout is understood. We Scots agree that being taken out of Europe despite your best efforts and against your will really sucks. But what a fickle way to lose such an important game. Cue Joe Swinson, former Liberal Democrat leader, with this helpful, if slightly moronic, suggestion. As you can see, the internet was kind to Joe, especially our chums from SNP Peterhead sticking their oar in again. Now, as if saying one dumb thing wasn't enough, Joe doubles down. Now, it may surprise some of you to learn that Joe Swinson is in fact Scottish. So, of course, she had similar commiserations for Steve Clark and the boys when they got knocked out on the 23rd of June. And as luck would have it, here is Joe Swinson's feed covering those dates. A couple of retweets, but I'm struggling to see any message for the Scots team. Can any of you see them? SNP Peterhead couldn't find them either, so they helpfully pointed that out to Joe Swinson. I'm sure she was busy doing something else important, like supporting England. Now, anyone who knows me will all know that I don't actually like football. I don't watch it, I don't follow it, so why would I cover it in my political blog? Well, the reasons I don't like football are nothing to do with my nation's lack of success in it or the comparative success of our neighbouring nation in 1966. It's not even the over-egged optimism of the fans and TV pundits. It's this kind of shit. And this kind of shit. Additionally, this kind of shit. And, of course, always bubbling away just under the surface, like a volcano just about to erupt. It's this other kind of shit. As you can imagine, it wasn't long before politicians condemned the abuse. But as is usual with Boris Johnson, he has the attention span of a goldfish. And of course, Boris Johnson wasn't alone with his short attention span. Home Secretary and serial ministerial code breacher Priti Patel chimed in too. Sadly, Priti Patel doesn't see the irony. Thankfully, SNP Peterhead were there to point it out to her. But not as impactfully as England player Tyrone Mings. Now, as a Scot, I'm delighted that England didn't win Euro 2020, which is why I posted this. But that's just banter. It's relief at not having to sit through repeats of the 1966 and 2021 finals at the time. But there is a lot to admire. about this England team and their leadership. These guys are real heroes. They're all donating their FA appearance money to the NHS, and we all know about what Marcus Rashford has used his platform to do. I just wish England's political leadership would take a few lessons from their football team. It's an absolute disgrace that they've been racially abused in this way, but there is an answer. Now, I know that nationality requirements for international sport are tenuous at best. So to any England team players of all creeds and colours who are perhaps feeling a little unappreciated right now, I'm sure if you have a look in your family tree, guys, you're going to find a Scottish great-granny or great-great-uncle in there somewhere. Come and play for a national team where you'll be loved, even when we get booted out of the group stages. Come and play for a national team where our political leaders will back you throughout the tournament, even when you take the knee. Come and play for Scotland. Log in soon for the next edition of Twitter Twits. DaviePHD.